So I guess the introductions have been done. So we'll just dive in. I know it's been a long day and it has been quite an energizing performance. So I think after that, a boring talk doesn't really put it. But still, we'll try to do our best and let's begin. So have you ever, ventured onto any website of any company, and have you ever seen their vision statements? They're, they're often very grandiose, they're often very lofty, they're often very big. And across all various companies, you will see one common thread. You will see that almost all through all of these declarations, there's a central objective of all of these vision statements. And that is often quite a noble objective. And that is that everyone wants to make this world a better place. And this is a sentiment that I believe almost all of you will echo as well. In your own capacities, everyone tries to make this world a better place. But let's come down and face the stark reality. Is the world getting any better? Polarization is rife in society. Income inequality is going up. Hunger and poverty still exist. Conflict is getting more prevalent. So, and on top of that, there's a looming crisis of a climate emergency. It almost feels like that we are running out of time, that all of this is kind of like a ticking time bomb towards the world going to its end, as if we don't have any time. But this begs a question. Why, despite of our collective efforts in the best interests, in very noble interests, have we come to a stage in time where we feel like this? I believe that the reason for that is a fundamental oversight when we try to conceive our future. And that fundamental oversight is that when conceiving our future, we do not regard the truth of our own reality, the truth of our own human creation and existence. Now, what do I mean by that? I'll explain in this talk. I believe that this misalignment between our own reality and the future that we have conceived is most profoundly visible in the concept of time and future in of itself. Humankind has become very habitual in viewing future and time in one particular lens. And that is quite a linear lens. What do I mean by that? Is that future is always something ahead. Future is always something that has to go from point A to point B. You are born, you grow, you die. There's an eventual start and an eventual end. However, time and future in your own human nature and that of the nature of things around us doesn't work that way. Time is cyclical. Time dances in cycles. And this is evident in nature. There are seasons, the concept of day and night, the concept of tides, the concept of stars and constellations. Everything works on cycles. Even your own human body is structured on cyclical time, hormonal cycles of men and women, and even things as basic as the constituents of your life, things as breathing and heartbeat, are on cyclical patterns rather than on linear patterns. And even the macro concept of life and death in of itself is cyclical. If you are on the religious spectrum, you will believe that it's cyclical because you either believe in the concept of an afterlife or the concept of reincarnation. And if you are on the more scientific spectrum, you'll still believe in a cyclical pattern because after that you will believe in the transformation of energy. Because energy can neither be created nor destroyed, only transformed from one shape to another. Now, here comes the tricky bit. Because of our linear thinking of time and not a cyclical thinking of time, there are certain consequences that happen. And the first and most paramount consequence is that because we think that time is something always going in the future, time is linear, we always believe that progress is always something that is in the future. Progress is always something that's in the horizon. And what do I mean by that is that when we believe this, we inadvertently disregard the possibility that progress is something that we have already achieved. Whenever we have a conversation around future, you will see, okay, what will happen in future in terms of technological advancements, in the terms of futuristic marvels, or in the terms of socio-political climate. The conversation is really about how in future you will be as a person, how you will change in terms of your thought patterns, how you will change in terms of your belief systems, and how you will change in terms of your values. That's another big problem. And when it's manifested as a bigger problem, what happens? This is a graph that maps human progress over time in the terms of GDP. Now, you see what's happening. Throughout human history, our GDP and hence our progress has been constant. Yet, in about 1850 onwards, there is a huge inflection point. Now, this is also a mark of remarkable progress, but there is another way to view this as well. Isn't this entire stretch of a graph an anomaly? That only in 50 odd years you are able to extend your progress to such a big extent? I believe it is. And the impact is evident. At this point in time, as we declared before, polarization and poverty, hunger, all of those things are rife. And the world as a large is trying to take a step back and seeing how we can create a new future. In evidence, what's happening in various fields of inquiry is everyone is trying to go for a journey of return. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is if you pick up any subject of inquiry, let's say for agriculture, agriculture throughout history has been, at this point in time in history, is very industrial prevalent, where we are utilizing a lot of machinery and fertilizers in order to grow. But in future, agriculture is regenerative. It has to be natural. It has to be devoid of all of these additional things, because otherwise it won't sustain itself. If you see your own diets, that's also coming a full circle, coming back, because now plants globally, diet globally is turning to be more plant-based. That has always been the case in human history. Human history depicts that humans were hunters and gatherers. We weren't expected to eat this much meat as well. Even if you see the concept of urban planning, an entire olden concept is coming back. And that is, we do not need to build metropolitan cities anymore. We need to build small towns. The case as it was before. And even in education. This education system that is a remnant of the past 200, 300 years is a product of the industrial machine and the bureaucratic machine that was necessary for the British Empire. How this is being changed is that this entire concept is now rendered obsolete. Education is now getting more skill-based, is getting more mastery-based. The concept of student and master is coming back. So, in of itself, here as well, there is a journey of return. But the problem is that this stepping back, this journey of return, isn't a proactive consequence. It's a reactive consequence to the mess and to the devastation that has already been created. In order for us to have a true future, for us to have a future that is just and that is equitable for all, we need to take a step back and start understanding the core essence of our human creation. What are the core values that we want to take in the future? Not what are the core external circumstances that we want to take in the future. What happens when we disregard the values when talking about future is, again, that we talk about a future, that we commit to a future in terms of external circumstances that we might not necessarily agree on. And that is a huge, huge, huge consequence that will bear upon our lives ahead. So as I part this talk, just one key giveaway that I have to give you. And that is that we do not need to see future in the most traditional lens of progress. And especially not in the most traditional lens of external progress. Future needs to be defined in the lens of internal progress. What is the value system that you want to take forward? What is the level of intellect as a collective humankind we want to take forward? And what is the level of compassion, of benevolence, and all the virtues that are so held dear to human society need to be taken forward? Because if we disregard these values, what's going to happen is, just like before, we're going to commit to a future that we don't actually need. Thank you.